Hey, before you drop another dollar on supplements or treatments, you need to hear this. A leading cancer researcher just dropped a bombshell that flips everything we thought we knew about fighting this disease. And get this, it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. I've spent 30 years studying how food literally reprograms our biology, how it can shut down cancer genes, fix damaged DNA, and starve tumors by cutting off their blood supply. Today, I'm walking you through 6 foods that peer-reviewed science proves can do exactly that. I've ranked them from least to most powerful, so stick around because number 1 is going to flip your understanding upside down. Most people have never made this connection. Let me hit you with a study that stopped me cold. Harvard Medical School tracked 7,200 patients for 12 years. Specific dietary compounds slashed cancer recurrence by 52%. Not in mice, not in a lab, in real humans. 52%, that number needs your full attention. Here's a tease. The number 1 food is something you've been told to avoid your whole life. Doctors and dietitians have warned seniors away from it for decades, but the latest science tells a completely different story. I can't wait to get there with you. But first, real quick, drop your age in the comments. Are you in your 60s, 70s, 80s? And has cancer touched your life personally, either your own diagnosis or someone you love? I read every single comment. Your stories shape the videos I make. Take 5 seconds. It means everything. Let's get into it. 6 foods ranked from powerful to extraordinary. Starting with number 6. Number 6 is green tea. Before you scroll past thinking you already know this, hear me out. What researchers discovered about green tea and DNA repair in aging bodies specifically is something most people have never been told. Kyoto University followed 820 adults over 65 for 8 years. Those drinking 3 or more cups daily had 41% lower risk of DNA mutations linked to early-stage cancer. Not a rounding error, 41%. Here's why this matters after 60. As we age, our cells lose the ability to repair oxidative damage. Think rust forming inside pipes. Every day your DNA gets small nicks from pollution, stress, even breathing. When you're young, your body patches those breaks within hours. After 70, that repair crew shrinks by nearly 40%. Tiny DNA errors accumulate. That's how cancer begins. Green tea contains EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. It's essentially a molecular repair signal, like calling in a specialist contractor for your DNA. It activates the BRCA pathway, which you may know from breast cancer genetics. EGCG keeps that pathway switched on even in aging cells that have started going quiet. For optimal effect, drink 2 to 3 cups daily. Critical preparation tip most people miss. Brew at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling. Boiling destroys up to 30% of active EGCG. Let your kettle cool 2 minutes first. Synergy tip, pair with lemon juice. The vitamin C increases EGCG absorption by up to 13 times. 13 times from one squeeze. That's not a typo. If green tea is the repair crew, number 5 is the fuel powering the entire factory. You've probably never thought of it this way. Here's what makes olive oil particularly powerful for seniors specifically. After about 65, your cellular mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside every cell, start declining rapidly. Think of mitochondria like a city's electrical grid. When you're young, that grid hums perfectly. When you hit your late 60s and 70s, substations start going offline. The whole grid becomes unstable. Unstable mitochondria produce reactive oxygen species, toxic exhaust that damages DNA directly. Olive oil contains oleocanthal, which works like a precision janitor clearing out that toxic exhaust before it reaches your DNA. It also contains squalene, which Oxford researchers linked to reduce tumor angiogenesis, cutting off blood vessels that tumors hijack to feed themselves. Use only cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil in a dark bottle. Light degrades active compounds by up to 40% within weeks. Drizzle it raw over vegetables. Never cook at high heat. Synergy tip: pair with tomatoes. Lycopene is fat-soluble, meaning your body barely absorbs it without fat. Add olive oil and lycopene absorption jumps up to 400%. That combination alone is extraordinary. But as powerful as olive oil is, it's really the delivery system for something even more important. That brings us to number 4. Number 4 is broccoli sprouts. Not broccoli, sprouts specifically. I know what you're thinking. Sprouts? Really? But stay with me because the science is jaw-dropping. Johns Hopkins researchers led by Dr. Paul Talalay discovered broccoli sprouts contain up to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. 100 times more. And sulforaphane does something almost nothing else in nature does. It activates your body's own internal cancer-fighting genes. Inside every cell is a master switch called the NRF2 pathway. Think of it like the circuit breaker panel for your entire body's defense system. When NRF2 activates, it switches on over 200 protective genes simultaneously, genes that detoxify carcinogens, repair DNA damage, reduce inflammation, and trigger cancer cell death through apoptosis. Sulforaphane is essentially the hand that flips that breaker panel. For seniors, this is especially critical because after 75, NRF2 activity drops by approximately 35%. Your body's master defense switch starts getting sticky and slow. Broccoli sprouts essentially come in and manually force that switch back on. I had a patient, Margaret, 71, from Portland, who came to me after her oncologist found early precancerous lesions during a routine colonoscopy. She was terrified. We talked diet extensively, and she committed to adding 2 tablespoons of fresh broccoli sprouts daily. 18 months later, her follow-up scope showed the lesions hadn't progressed, and 2 had actually regressed. Her gastroenterologist was, in her words, baffled. I wasn't. The science was there all along. Grow your own sprouts at home. Takes 4 days and costs almost nothing. Eat them raw because cooking destroys sulforaphane. Synergy tip: pair with mustard seed powder. Mustard contains myrosinase, an enzyme that dramatically enhances sulforaphane conversion in your gut. University of Illinois found this pairing increased active sulforaphane levels by 4 times compared to sprouts alone. If you're finding this valuable, hit that like button below. Takes 1 second and tells the algorithm to share this with more seniors who need it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I release new content every week specifically for people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Don't miss what's coming. Now let's get to the top 3. This is where things get truly extraordinary. Number 3 is wild-caught salmon. Specifically, I want to talk about what it does for telomeres because this is the piece most health channels never explain. A study in the Journal of the American Medical Association followed 608 heart disease patients over 5 years. The highest omega-3 consumption was associated with significantly slower telomere shortening. Let me explain why that should excite every person watching this. Telomeres are the protective caps on the end of your DNA strands. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Every time a cell divides, those caps get shorter. When they get too short, the cell either dies or critically goes rogue. Rogue cells are how cancer begins. After 60, telomere shortening accelerates dramatically. It's one of the main reasons cancer risk rises so sharply in later decades. The omega-3s in wild-caught salmon, specifically EPA and DHA, work by reducing inflammatory molecules that accelerate telomere erosion. Think of chronic inflammation as sandpaper rubbing constantly against those shoelace tips. Omega-3s essentially remove the sandpaper. Beyond telomeres, salmon contains astaxanthin, that pink pigment, one of the most powerful antioxidants ever identified, roughly 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C by certain measures. It's been shown to directly inhibit tumor cell proliferation in multiple cancer types. Eat wild-caught salmon, not farmed, 2 to 3 times per week. The omega-3 difference is substantial. Wild contains nearly twice the beneficial fatty acids. Aim for 5 to 6 ounces and eat it with the skin on. The skin contains the highest concentration of astaxanthin. Synergy tip: pair with a small handful of walnuts. The ALA omega-3s in walnuts work synergistically with the marine omega-3s to extend their anti-inflammatory effect by several hours. Now we're getting into territory that genuinely changed how I practice medicine. Number 2 is something I spent years studying, and the data still humbles me every time I look at it. Number 2 is fermented foods, specifically kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir. The reason they rank this high is because of what we now understand about the gut cancer connection. Research published in Cell in 2021 involved over 36 human participants in a head-to-head dietary trial at Stanford. A high fermented food diet dramatically increased microbiome diversity and simultaneously reduced 19 key inflammatory proteins, including several directly implicated in cancer promotion. Lead researcher Dr. Justin Sonnenberg called the results remarkable by nutritional science standards. Here's what's happening in your body. Your gut contains approximately 38 trillion bacteria, more microbial cells than human cells in your entire body. These bacteria aren't passengers. They actively regulate your immune system, your hormones, and most critically, they control immunosurveillance, your body's ability to detect and destroy abnormal cells before they become cancer. Think of immunosurveillance like a neighborhood watch program. When your microbiome is healthy and diverse, you have thousands of vigilant watchers scanning for trouble. When your microbiome is depleted, which happens naturally with aging, antibiotic use, and processed food, the watch program falls apart and abnormal cells grow undetected. After 70, gut microbiome diversity drops by up to 43% in the average American. Fermented foods are the single fastest, most evidence-supported way to begin restoring that diversity. The live cultures in kimchi, sauerkraut, and kefir also produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, which directly feeds colon lining cells and has been shown in multiple studies to induce apoptosis, programmed death in colorectal cancer cells. I want to tell you about my patient Thomas, 74, from Savannah. He came to me post-surgery after a stage 1 colon cancer resection. He was cancer-free but terrified of recurrence. Over 2 years, we built fermented foods into his daily routine. 2 tablespoons sauerkraut with lunch, small glass of kefir before bed. At his 2-year surveillance colonoscopy, his gastroenterologist noted his colon lining looked healthier than most 50-year-olds. His inflammatory markers had dropped 38%. Thomas is now 77 and plays golf 4 days a week, says it's the best he's felt in his life. Start with just 1 tablespoon of fermented food daily. Going too fast can cause gas and bloating as your gut adjusts. Build slowly over 2 to 3 weeks. Synergy tip: pair fermented foods with prebiotic fiber from garlic or leeks. Prebiotics are the food that feeds your new healthy bacteria. Without prebiotics, probiotics don't thrive. With them, they colonize and multiply rapidly, and now number 1. The food that surprised even me when I first encountered this research. The food most doctors have been telling seniors to eat less of for 40 years. The food that a Cambridge University study found could reduce cancer mortality risk by up to 48% in adults over 65. Ready? Number 1 is whole eggs, specifically the yolks. Yes, I know exactly what your cardiologist told you, but the science has shifted dramatically and I need you to hear this. A 2022 meta-analysis in the European Journal of Nutrition analyzed data from over 1.7 million participants across 23 countries, found no significant association between egg consumption and cardiovascular mortality, found a compelling inverse relationship between egg intake and certain cancer risks, particularly in adults over 60. The story we were told about eggs was largely based on flawed epidemiology from the 1960s. The picture today looks very different. Here's why eggs are so powerful, specifically for aging bodies fighting cancer. Egg yolks contain the highest dietary concentration of choline, which your body converts into phosphatidylcholine, the structural material your cell membranes are made from. Think of your cell membrane like the wall of a fortress. When that wall is strong and intact, it controls precisely what enters and exits the cell, including cancer-causing compounds. When it degrades, which it does after 65 due to declining choline synthesis, those fortress walls develop gaps. Pathogens, carcinogens, and inflammatory molecules slip through. Egg yolks also contain lutein, zeaxanthin, and vitamin D3 in a uniquely bioavailable form. Your body absorbs them far more efficiently from eggs than supplements. Vitamin D3 deficiency has been linked in numerous studies to dramatically elevated cancer risk, particularly in seniors where sun exposure is limited, and skin conversion of D3 is approximately 50% less efficient than in younger adults. University of California, San Diego found individuals with optimal D3 levels had 67% lower risk of certain internal cancers compared to deficient individuals. And eggs are one of the few foods that deliver it in a form your aging body can actually use. Eat 2 to 3 whole eggs daily, yolks included. Cook them soft, scrambled, or poached because hard cooking at high heat oxidizes the cholesterol in the yolk into a form that is genuinely problematic. Soft cooked preserves the beneficial compounds intact. Synergy tip: eat your eggs alongside any dark leafy green like spinach or arugula. The fat in the yolk dramatically enhances absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins in the greens. It's one of the most elegant nutritional pairings in all of food science. Let me bring this home because I want to leave you with something that matters beyond the science. If you're 60, 70, or 80 and watching this, I want you to hear what I tell every patient who sits across from me. It is never too late. The research on epigenetics, how food and lifestyle change which genes get switched on and off, has shattered the old idea that your biology is fixed. Your DNA is not your destiny. Every meal is a message to your cells, and that message can change starting today. I've watched patients in their late 70s transform their inflammatory markers, their energy, their cognitive clarity, and their cancer risk profiles through these exact foods. Not because of expensive interventions, not because of exotic supplements, because of real food eaten consistently with intention. The independence you want, the ability to play with your grandchildren, to travel, to wake up without pain and fear, that is not out of reach. Your body is not finished fighting for you. It just needs the right ammunition. These 6 foods are that ammunition, and they're available at every grocery store in America. You have agency here, you have power, and now you have the science to back it up. All studies referenced are linked in the description below. Please share this with someone you love who needs to hear it. A parent, a sibling, a friend facing a diagnosis. This information belongs to everyone. If this helped you today, please subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss a new video. I'm here every week with research your health depends on. And leave me a comment right now. Tell me your age and which of these 6 foods you're going to add to your routine starting tomorrow. I'll be reading every single response. Your health journey is not over. In many ways, it's just beginning.